This is Guardian Radio, your station for up-to-the-minute news, intelligent, interactive, and engaging conversation. 96.9 FM. The views and opinions of the hosts and guests are their own and do not necessarily reflect the position of the management and staff of Guardian Network.
This morning, and welcome back to Guardian Radio 96.9 FM, your station for fresh news, smart talk all day. It is Monday, the 4th of September, of October 2021, and you are on the clock with Erin, Greene. Boy, I just took a walk down memory lane. Let me tell you what I saw this weekend. First of all, I am certain that I saw a video of a man trying to catch what was called a blue marlin on Montague Beach with his bare hands. I want to say to that gentleman, the position of Minister of Agriculture and Marine Resources has already been filled by the Honorable Mr. Clay Sweeting. And if you really had wanted the job that bad, you should have put in your application from a long time. You didn't have to go in the ocean and prove to us that you are the man with the plan to handle the marine resources. Or should I say the man with the hand to handle the marine resources. So I want to say to that gentleman who tried to catch that big fish. Now, when I say big fish, right, if it really was a marlin, it must have only have been a baby marlin. It could only have been a junior marlin, right? At 60 pounds or so. That had to have been a baby fish. But it was quite a big fish. And to that gentleman, I hope that you are recovering well. I heard that you broke your finger. Now, when I say I heard, my niece watched you do this with her bare eyes and came back and told me the story. And let me just say something. In her eyes, you are a national hero. Right? Now, I had to explain to her that you ain't supposed to catch marlins. And technically, it's against the law to catch marlins outside of a sanctioned tournament, right? Or sanctioned government-approved activity. However, I explained to her that perhaps he is still a hero because he was trying to make sure that that fish either got back deep in deep water where it needed to be or got at a safe distance from the children who were trying to swim in the water that day. So we could still call him a national hero. I don't know this man's name, but I know that Blue Marlin knows his name, and that Blue Marlin ain't gonna never mess with him again. Also, I want to say good morning to the man who is also obviously trying to take over the Honorable Clay Sweeting's job as the Minister of Agriculture and Marine Resources. This weekend, I guess I was graced. I had the fortune. I was lucky enough to witness this scene. I'm watching this man in his wetsuit, still dripping water, walking up East Bay Street with a spear in his hand. And on the spear is the biggest crawfish in the world I have to call KB and ask him to write a song about it. The biggest crawfish in the world I ever saw. I mean it's big. He walking with it on the spear and it ain't slide off the spear yet. This have to be the strongest Bahamian fisherman I did ever meet. Anyway, Clay Sweeting, I know it hasn't been enough time. Yeah, you haven't had really enough time to perform in your job. But just in case you thought you had time to slunk, trust me, some Bahamian man out here trying to prove to you why they should be the Minister of Marine Resources and Agriculture. I have a text here that says that the fish, the marlin that I'm talking about, was actually closer to 110 pounds. Wow. Wow, that is big. That is big, still small for a marlin, but that is pretty big. What an eventful weekend. Now, I see plenty things this weekend. I ain't gonna tell you all about all of them. But the one spectacular thing I saw is I watched a man walk a pan of what had to have been macaroni. It had to have been a pan of macaroni. It had to have been a kind with 3 cheeses, when you blend the egg and the herbs and the tomato all together, and it'd have to have goat pepper in it and thyme. This man walked a pan of macaroni through a blockade of police cars and police officers and big AK-47s. I didn't know what was going on Cowpen Road. But that boy, you needed to apply for the Minister of National Security long before the election. But I see the snap election caught you by surprise as well. Don't worry, it caught all of us by surprise. Well, good morning again. Welcome back to On the Clock with Erin Greene, where we have conversations that help us understand and navigate a rapidly changing Bahamas. If you want to join this conversation today, you could text us on the Guardian Radio text line at 422-GR96. That's 422-4796, and that's powered by BTC. Standard text rates apply. Or you could call us at 323-6232, 325-4316, or 325-4259. This morning we're talking what's in the papers. I'm talking about senator appointments, and I'm talking about conflicts of interest. Conflicts of interest. I think it's a good time to talk about it. I wanted to make space before the election to talk about it. It's one of the questions, one of my top 10 questions for candidates and political parties and party leaders before the election. And the question is sort of simple. It's really, our population is so small that it's too small to avoid conflicts of interest. So we must create mechanisms to manage these conflicts when they arise. The question is, how will you, given the small size of the population, manage conflicts when they arise? I'm concerned about the appointment of senators. And it's a big one. I think we could just start here. This is a big one. And the conflict for me is blatant and obvious. The upper house, the Senate, is supposed to be reserved for elder statesmen and stateswomen who can provide guidance, context for the decisions that are being made in the House. They have a firm historic and political rooting or experience that allows them to share with others perspectives that may not be so obvious at first. But it turns out that we have started and continued a practice of using the upper house or the Senate to curry favor as a prize for those who we think have served the party agenda well, even though they have not achieved anything politically. And even some who think they have achieved, but don't realize that they're just a benefactor of the times. I got a text here that says, tell Clay Sweeting, don't forget the tire for agriculture, Gladstone Road. Anybody working at BAIC, BAMSI, Ministry of Agriculture, please pass this message on to the new minister. Got a text here that says, great show as usual. Miss Greene, a man got shot by the airport this weekend. Miss Greene, if one murder is committed this week, I'm strongly thinking about divorcing myself from the black community And no, I am not joining the white community because I see what they did in Washington. Their behavior is antisocial as well. Okay. Well, here's what we start to do. We start here, and we are going to disassociate poverty and crime. We can disassociate crime with race simply being the color of your skin. We can associate crime with race as a larger construct of skin color, economic status, social status. But no, that's a bad assessment of that. Social scientists, hit me up with a good response to that, man. Another text, Ms. Greene, why do you think these people can't behave? I think Brave should put in place a committee. If you murder, the fine is 100 years in jail. Because black people are scared of 100 years in jail. If you don't believe me, ask R. Kelly. R. Kelly wasn't crying because of the thought of 100 years in jail. Hi, yes, that is a small marlin. I saw them over 800 pounds in Bimini. Yes, I thought that was a small marlin. Dealing with murder and crime requires deeper analysis, Texter. Although on the surface you hit on a couple of things, we need a deeper analysis. And that's why where we are, because we refuse to give deeper analysis to the situation. I see I got a caller on the line. Let's go to the caller, Arlington. Caller, you're on the clock.
Hey, Erin, good morning.
Hey, good morning. How are you?
Yeah, I just wanted to clarify something, right?
Yeah.
I think I heard the central governors talking about the $100 bill this morning, right?
Okay.
And they were saying something of, I think I need, just the part I need to clear up. The part when I think they said that Ponciana is on the $100, right?
Uh-huh.
I didn't know the Ponciana was a native tree or even any part of the Bahamas, right?
Mm-hmm.
So what is wrong with this country? We take a foreign plant, what was imported in this country, name a street after it, right? And then now it's alleged that it's on the $100 bill. But nobody, and this is the reason why nobody knows what a legal whitey tree is, right? Mm-hmm. What happens to be the national tree of the Bahamas, right? You ever seen? Sorry, I know you ever seen it because you was a older woman, right? But most people really never seen or don't even know what a legal whitey tree is all about or look like.
Yeah.
I think something is seriously wrong with that, Erin, because now we're gonna put this imported plant on our $100 bill to further put the Bahamian people in a darkness as far as who their true identity is. Because if this is not removed 10 years, 15, 100 years down the road, no Bahamians we will be looking at this
Well, the children be telling you Ponciana is the national tree and telling
Ponciana will become, that's what I was trying to say.
And grouper is the national fish.
Right.
Yeah, we sometimes we forget how important it is, or the spaces in which it is important to be pedantic, and this is one of those spaces.
This is one of them. Again on this, Erin. When during the campaigning, right? I know it's been a year, but during the campaigning, right? I believe I must be the only legal whitey tree in my neighborhood, right? And I periodically ask persons who come there if they can tell me what that tree is, right?
Uh-huh.
And I've met people from all walks of life with all type of educated background and what you call it, right? And you know what they call the tree?
Mm-hmm.
They call it a tamarind. They call it a moringa.
Uh-huh.
They call it a wild tamarind tree. And then they are puzzled when they learn that, hey, that's the legal whitey tree. We have a whole independent strip, a whole street called Independence, right?
Yeah.
Independence Drive, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Where's the legal whitey drive? we're Ponciana Drive.
Listen,
but where's Lignum Whitey Drive?
why the Lignum Whitey ain't on Independence Drive?
Why we don't have one Lignum Whitey on any drive?
I can leave you with this, and I think this may be the answer. Do you know how much money is involved in the lignum vitae industry in trading wood?
Yeah, that's why we can't see that. We should have forests of them, man. They should have some type of law put in place where you have to plant lignum vitae for the next 20 years before you cut them down, sort of generations of behemoths coming, because know what it's all about, man. Something's wrong with this country.
That's what I'm talking about right now. That's a beautiful idea. And that's the way that you ensure the perpetuation, right? That's the way that you sustain these trees, is by initiatives like that. Before you could cut down one, you could plant 20.
Yes, because it's a national tree. It's a part of our. It's supposed to be a part of our identity.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Almost like, look here, I got another call. I gotta go.
Have a wonderful day.
Absolutely, but it's almost like we got to put the young Bahamian man on the endangered list to see if that'll protect him, because we just cutting them down left, right, and center. As I say that, I sort of laugh because we're not really paying attention to many of the things that are on the endangered lists already, right? So that was a little joke. I see I got a caller on the line. Caller, you are on the clock. Good morning.
Godly day is dark, you know why so long with you, Erin, pretty eye Greene.
Good morning, Braynon. How you
you
doing?
I'm holding, thank God. Two questions for you.
Mm-hmm.
The cotton trees in the Bahamas. The cotton trees.
Still cotton trees?
Say it again?
Still cotton tree, yeah.
Right. Now, I think that should have been on the money because it were here from that time. And, you know, it goes back in history where people used to, the slaves used to have to pick cotton. And right now, today, cottons are made cotton makes sheets, pillowcase, and tablecloths and stuff like that. It makes clothing, shirts, you know.
Absolutely.
Out of cotton.
Did you know the silk cotton tree is famine food?
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Another question I have for you, right?
Mm-hmm.
I want you to give me your opinion on it. Now, America getting so violent now. You know what I'm saying? So very much violent. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, okay.
Okay,
go on.
I was wondering what can be done to change the situation over there.
In America?
Right.
Boy, Brayman. Okay. I got your question.
Okay, good.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
I got your question, Brayman.
Yeah.
And
I'm gonna hang up and listen.
yeah, give me a second. I got to gather my thoughts on that. I'm going to go to another caller. Let me gather my thoughts on that, Brayman. Good morning, caller. You on the clock?
Morning, darling. How you doing?
I'm
on the
good,
clock?
thank you. How are you?
Wonderfully. I still waiting for you to deliver my chick Johnny to me, you know.
Listen, the way that the Chick Johnny works, that Chick Johnny done been there. What I need you to do is I need you to go check your silverware, because he done been there.
Oh, okay. Listen, women and y'all, the yellow welder man. The yellow welder is much prettier.
Okay.
You understand?
Yeah.
Yeah, Lignum Mighty versus the rest of them. The yellow welder done well. But I must have been sleeping for the past week, Raymond, just to go off the course a bit.
Uh-huh.
I go on the Central Bank the other day, out west, ATM, and I couldn't get $20 off my account.
Mm-hmm.
When that happened, what happened? Why ain't nobody making a noise for that?
Man, that was all the talk last week and at the end of last week. That's big talk. Now, mind you, only poor people talking about it. And obviously they can't afford much airtime, right? But it's big talk. It's a massive issue.
Man, you should say, as a matter of fact, I scared the hell out of myself because I go into the first ATM in the building, and that one only had 100 up. I thought I was getting crazy.
Listen, in fact, on Sunday, my neighbor asked me to borrow, he asked for a couple dollars, and I only had a couple big bills, right? And he said, he'll go break it and bring me back the change. So I gave him a $10 bill, and he tell me, listen, I need something smaller, because I almost certain at this hour of the day, the people I go into can't even break $10. Right? And so people are living in a totally different economy from the people who are making these decisions.
I totally agree with you. So, I mean, I shocked here. You can't even get $40.
And so you see, today I'm talking about conflict of interest, right? And I'm not quite sure if this fit the scenario, but
yeah, that's what I said. Going up.
But for me, what it is how you gonna pull me into a digital system that you yourself cannot guarantee that all of the elements necessary for the functioning of the system and me accessing the system are in place. We don't have any real regulations for connectivity, for internet services, for data services. We don't have any regulations for the amount of time your service could be down before you compensated, or who is liable for the loss of business or the loss of transactions in that time. You set me up in a digital system. Like I went to go put money on my phone in a kiosk where you could pay bills, and when I got to the place, the kiosk just wasn't there anymore. Right? It just didn't exist anymore. But imagine if I was going to go pay my phone bill or my light bill. I just pick up the money, just got the money in hand, gonna try drop it in this box before the deadline, right? It's like you dragging us into a world that you have not prepared yourself for, let alone us
and I can right now, Erin, because I live downtown. As I walk, I take my time, stretch my little leg, going downtown to Royal Bank. The security tell me, but bank closed, so you got to go to Palmdale. In addition to doing all that, pretty close and all the banks, with the central bank and this, with the government. Anyway, I can go look for Charlie Moss because me name guy protest, man.
Yeah. Boy, look here. And I appreciate that protest. Absolutely.
Yeah, okay.
I used to live my life according to that protest, but then I grew up and had to get a bank account. Thank you very much, sir.
Right.
Thank you. Boy, this is still a big issue. And I'm not sure if the people who are responsible for creating and interrogating economic policies are practicing the empathy necessary to perform effectively. These are real things in people's lives. Got some text here. Text says, good morning. Virgin Cruise is coming to Bimini and they're bringing in all their service to work on the island while unemployment is high in our country. That sounds odd. Bimini is not even large enough for them to bring all their workers off the ship to come and work. But, you know, the new Minister of Social Services, who is the representative for that island, should be on it. This is not something I think he would slunk on or allow to go past without his interrogation. That's very interesting. Another text says, good morning, Miss Greene. We need to rename some of our streets. If you name a street Choke Neck Alley or Dead Cat Avenue, that can work into the subconscious mind of some of our young men and young women. This can no doubt lead to crime. It's more than that. It's not just the name of the street. It's the name of the street and then how you regard the people and how you treat the people on the street. It's like I live in a walking community, right? Now, people treat it like a thoroughfare, right? It's Johnson Road. Anybody with good sense know that Johnson Road is a walking community. They know that poor people and children are constantly on the roads in Johnson Road. But people is speed through Johnson Road. They be flying through there. Now, some of them are residents of Johnson Road and are intimately familiar with the intricacies of the roadways and the curves, right? And the way the cars is just juke out the corner. But if you don't live in Johnson Road, why are you speeding through Johnson Road? You know why? Because you don't care about the people that live through there. And that's a bigger part of the problem. So maybe it's the name that when people see this, Choke Neck Alley, do what I want. Ain't nobody important live through here. I think that's more of what's happening. Another text says, hi. Yes, that is a small amount. Yeah, I got that one. Hi, the caller should get to the main point. Most of our MPs don't know who, how much, and where our Bahamian dollar is printed. Another text, is the Chicchani on the endangered list? Absolutely. The Chicchani is absolutely on the endangered list. Another text, good morning, Miss Greene. Why do people think they could just come in your yard and take your coconuts without your permission? I went out for 2 hours, and when I got back, I learned that a group of guys were in my yard stealing my coconuts. When I got back, all the coconuts were gone. They didn't even leave one for me. That's over 60 coconuts gone just like that. I can tell you why. Because the police are overwhelmed with a lack of training, a lack of resources. They've been in protest for 30 plus years. Few of their issues are being resolved. They're treated like puppets and objects for political favor. They are overwhelmed. And as the escalation in gang violence and murders occurs, as these things increase, they're even more frustrated, and they look at things as agricultural theft, as petty theft, and not really worth their energy. Unfortunately, a massive problem is that agricultural theft is destroying the country. It is destroying our ability to feed ourselves, our capacity for self-resilience and self-reliance. We cannot take care of ourselves if people continue to steal from farms. And whoever put that sign at the bottom of Golden Isles Road, who do you think is thieving from the farms? Do you think University of the Bahamas students are driving down to Cowpen Road to commit predial larceny? Could we not have found a better sign? This is what I'm talking about, the empathy again. Stealing coconuts is stealing. It is a crime. Entering somebody's private property is a crime. Dear police, not only are you responsible for traffic, you're responsible for agricultural theft as well. No, do not cut down your coconut tree texter. Another text. Good morning, Erin. Where are the banking regulators? This move by RBC is totally unacceptable. And on another note, while we are at it, especially with these long wait times in lines due to COVID-19, these banks need to have public restrooms. See, I think like this I feel like this, it sits in the conflict of interest thing. Banks are supposed to have bathrooms. There's legislation that all businesses open to the public supposed to have a bathroom accessible to their clients and customers and the public. That banks don't have it. Somebody was telling me that it's about security because they can't have cameras in the bathrooms. No, you can't have cameras in the bathrooms, but if you are concerned about people using the vents in the bathrooms to enter the secure areas in the building, you could put cameras in the vents. They don't need to be in the bathrooms. But yeah, you have people out there for an hour, for 2 hours. Even European Union regulations give employees, they could go use the bathroom every 30 minutes. You know what I'm saying? You guys wouldn't even hire a porta potty to put outside, let alone secure your ATM doors. And that's no bank, that's not specific to any bank. Another text, morning, Erin, just a thought. I see our dollar being devalued in the next 3 years plus. Food for thought. Take care. Boy, I thought you said take cake. I will stockpile cake if you recommend it. But yes, people. Another text, great show as usual. We need to stop calling people grassroots because we speak in poverty on people. No, grassroots doesn't automatically or inherently denote poverty. That's not what it is. That's not what it does. Grassroots is political. It's about like the hierarchy where the people sit. They sit on the ground, sit where the work is, where people's feet are planted, right? It's more about that. We're not speaking poverty on people because when you engage with the grassroots people, you realize that they're rich with ideas and solutions. They got plenty problems, but they got plenty solutions as well. Sometimes we just don't know about those solutions. Another text here that says, tell your caller he is late about that $50 minimum at the ATM. Tell him change banks to another bank. They don't give poor people loans or, listen, to the new administration, if there's anything that you need to focus on, you need to focus on banking policies and regulations. You need to focus on responses to predatory banking practices. You need to focus on making access to banks and banking services to make it more access easier and more equitable. Ah, boy. And if we are moving to a digital platform for banking, then you absolutely have to focus on regulatory frameworks for provision of service, for access to services, and for the auxiliary or ancillary services, the things that we need to be able to use your service. Don't tell me your banking platform is fine if the internet isn't up long enough for anybody to access it, or electricity isn't up long enough for anybody to access it. I got one more text here, and then maybe we go to a break. Arlington text says, there's no bathroom at Road Traffic Carmichael Road. Long waiting time there. In fact, I can be honest, this is one of the reasons, like, when people talk about those people who are critiquing the state's response and our collective responses to the pandemic, right? Let me make this note. It is very easy. Like, there's some things right on the surface, were indicators, clear indicators of where the state's priorities were focused, right? What you mean? COVID protocols require longer waiting times, but you have not put into place any services to facilitate your clients in those longer waiting times, like tents for people who have to line up outside, like porta potties for people who have extended wait times. So it's not your regular hour minimum. Now an hour and a half to 2 hours minimum. What were the things put in place to accommodate that? Those are the indicators that people used. Anyway, that's the music. Got to go to a break. When we come back, we're going to look at the list of senators and some of the other issues, conflicts of interest that have already arisen in the new administration. Stay tuned to Guardian Radio 96.9 FM. We will be right back after this break.
I've been representing all my life. I'm getting ready to make it count this time. Since it's 2021 for your family line, you better get ready. It's about that time. So tell mama to be ready. Tell it to the whole family. Go round the top 4-2. The count depends on you. So tell Ted to go tell below. Knock it down on your calendar. Since it's 2021, this one's for everyone.
The Central Bank of the Bahamas invites students in grades 4 through 12 to compete in the Get Money Smart Bahamas video essay competition. Students must produce a 3 to 5 minute essay sharing their views on the following topic. The Bahamian economy is an ideal model for digital financial services. Get a parent or guardian permission to share the link to your essay with us on social media and have your entry judged for cash prizes in either the primary school division, junior high, or senior high school category. Essay submissions must be received by October 22nd, 2021. For more information, visit GetMoneySmartBahamas.com or see our post on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.
Throughout our lifetime, we must all make decisions. No matter how we choose, the right one just needs to be made. Like having J.S. Johnson Insurance Agents and Brokers as your insurance partner. We've been serving the Bahamas for over 100 years. Whether you need home, motor, marine, or commercial insurance, make the right decision. Call 397-2100 or visit jsjohnson.com.
J.S. Johnson Insurance. Peace of mind.
I've been representing all my life. I'm getting ready to make it count this time. Since it's 2021 for your family line, you better get ready. It's about that time. So tell mama to be ready. Tell it to the whole family. Go round the top 4-2. The count depends on you. So tell Ted to go tell below. Knock it down on your calendar. Since it's 2021, this one's for everyone.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM. Fresh news, smart talk, all day.
Good morning and welcome back to Guardian Radio 96.9 FM. You are on the clock with Erin Greene. today, Monday, the 4th of October, 2021. I have a brief message for you from Pride Bahamas 2021. Pride Bahamas 2021 is being held under the theme, We Are People Just Like You. Creating a more humane Bahamas through visibility, inclusion, allyship, and advancing human rights for LGBTQIA plus people in the Bahamas. From October 4th to 6th, Pride Bahamas will conduct 3 days of sensitization, education, and awareness, virtual sessions that are geared towards addressing critical issues faced by LGBTQ plus people all over the breadth and width of this archipelago. To join the conversation, register at Bahamas Organization of LGBTI Affairs or check out at Pride Bahamas on Twitter and register there. I will be speaking on one of those panels today talking about the privilege of invisibility and the power of visibility in Bahamian society. I think it will be a wonderful, wonderful week of sessions, and I think I'm going to have members of the organizing committee on this week. I know I've gotten a lot of texts over the last few weeks about issues arising. People say issues arising from the LGBTI community, and so now would be a great time to maybe make a space for that conversation as well. Conflicts of interest. Oh my, oh my. So here's some of the potential conflicts of interest that have arisen so far, or over the last few weeks or months. It's just a short list to get the conversation started, right? And I'm looking at some of these here. I don't even know. Oh boy. Okay, here's where we're going to start. We're going to start with Wayne Monroe, the Minister of National Security, and the reappointment of his former clients to the Bahamas Department of Correction Services. And I'm putting a question mark there, and I want to ask the question, is this a conflict of interest? Does this represent a conflict of interest? In fact, I asked a long time, why appoint Wayne Monroe as the Minister of National Security, considering the potential for conflicts of interest? And surely this is a major one. Question mark. I wish we could have members of the judiciary or the legal community speak on it in a sanctioned way, like in a way that's acceptable in the public. Another one that has arisen, the question of why Leslia Miller Bryce did not receive a cabinet posting or appointment, and it's because of a conflict of interest that arises in her family. I think her husband has a gaming license or works in the gaming industry, and thus this disqualifies her. It's a conflict of interest that must be acknowledged and avoided. The FNM and the Auditor General's report, if we could ever see it in its entirety, may reveal a massive number of conflicts of interest that the opportunity to address initially seems to have been taken away from us. And I feel like even the dissolving in that house, of the House, in that manner represents a conflict of interest. Should the PM be allowed to dissolve the House when matters questioning his administration are still left to be answered? For me, the opening of Parliament at Bahama represents a conflict of interest. But then, see, I'm concerned about things like plantation model tourism and what it looks like when you open your Parliament in the halls of a mega resort that you're still deeply engaged in legal matters with. I don't know. Surely this is also a conflict of interest. And then The Prime Minister, in the paper today, urging a U.S. court to drop the Adrian Fox case. Is this not a conflict? Is this a conflict of interest? Even though the letter is dated August 10th, before the election victory, surely he was vying to be leader of the country long before August 10th. He knew the potential of him winning, and even if he didn't win, he's still the leader of the royal opposition, right? Because no third party was gonna take the thing, man. Surely this too is a conflict of interest. And then we see Nygaard says yes to extradition on U.S. sex trafficking charges. Now I know the word there says U.S. sex trafficking charges, but surely we have not brought sufficient clarity to our local interrogations. But anytime you say the word Nygaard now, the only thing I could think of is conflict of interest. And so the question remains, how will we manage them? And let me tell you why I say how will we manage them. Because despite the glaring, the blatant conflicts of interest that arise with the appointment of Jerome Fitzgerald to the office of the Prime Minister, they still did it. They still pushing forward with it. And so if we cannot rely on the powers that be to avoid a conflict such as this in its entirety, then we demand that they tell us which mechanisms they will use to manage it, and to manage it in a public manner. So I'm going to read a quote here from Mr. Damian Gomez. From what I know, I don't see that there's anything that disqualifies him, Mr. Gomez said. I don't pretend to know everything, but from the matters I know of, I don't see him as being disqualified. In terms of academic qualifications, he is eminently qualified for the post. He's a pretty good businessman and he's done well in his career. Critics claim, now this is me, critics claimed he breached the Manual of Cabinet and Ministry Procedure, which states a minister must not solicit or accept any benefits, advantage, or promise of future advantage, whether for himself, his immediate family, or any business concern or trust with which he is associated from persons who are in or seek to be in any contractual or special relationship with the government. If you call the text line, you will distract me while I'm reading and I get to pause and gather my thoughts like an old lady. Please text, don't call. So, I'm still stunned. I'm still stunned that Fitzgerald has been appointed to the deliverables unit, to the office of the Prime Minister in this capacity. And see, to the young man last week or the week before that asked why we can't just push forward, why we have to be stuck in the past. It's things like this. We could push forward, just not everybody can push forward. We could push forward, just not everybody is allowed to push forward still. The PLP could push forward, but the question is, what is Jerome Fitzgerald doing in such a high-level, sensitive position? Without an actual apology or declaration of acknowledgement that what he did was wrong. And we're not even talking about Marathon yet. We're not even talking about what occurred to the people in Marathon under his care. We haven't gotten there yet. These are just the things that we could say plainly and on the surface were inappropriate and wrong. Anyway, I got a caller on the clock, and we got to go quickly because I've only got 4 minutes left. Caller, you on the clock.
Yeah, Erin, morning.
Morning.
It's the system, The people them don't ask for better. You know what it was last time, and I don't mean to make things political, but that's how it is. Somebody tell me he got that position because he was campaigning with the party. But anyone in their right mind, I know if they'd have come around me, I'd have been like, well, this is the man who do the people bad in marathon, so I could even entertain them. It's the people them. The people them done give them carte blanche, as they say, to come back again and do it. We, as the people, have to demand more to raise the bar because the politicians, them, who we give all the power to, will continue to do these things. Pick up a book, learn your history, because these things been happening from way before. Good day.
Thank you. And on that note, pick up a pen and please write the history down for the young people. How are they supposed to know? Because I'm going to tell you, just like the caller said, did the PLP campaign on a promise that they bring in Jerome Fitzgerald back? Did you have to be an integral part of the party to know that, to be privy to that information? Is that how we do in governance these days? I mean, that's how we always did governance. What am I talking about, Erin? You talking foolishness. Anyway, we ain't finished talking about this conflict of interest in caller. I don't have enough time. I could be honest with you. You got to promise me 30 seconds. You're on the clock. You got 30 seconds and I'm cutting you. Good morning. You still there?
Yeah, morning.
Morning.
Yeah, the people then will look and look and say, ain't we looking at a different standard? We take out things, we read. We look at Brent Simonette, we look at Tommy Tunquist, we look at Dion Folks. All those persons came back and was ministers.
Oh, don't watch nothing.
The various. No, I'm just saying.
Yeah. Brent got
a different standard when it comes to progressive liberal party.
Oh, no, ma'am.
It is.
Maybe for some other people.
All kind of papers and carry on.
Ma'am, maybe for
right?
I got you. Maybe for some other people. But Brent Simonette could tell you the fire he got from me. The people he sent in my neighborhood to campaign could tell you the fire they got from me. Brent ain't get no easy run from me. And what we have to do is we have to demand a more balanced level of engagement from media personalities, from people who call themselves political advocates. That's what you should do, but you got it from me. Trust that. Boy, caller, I got to go. You hear that music playing? I am so sorry. I am out of time. To my texters, let's go. Good morning. Please also speak to the abuse by Cable Bahamas. Let's call it presumed abuse right now. One would be out for days without compensation, as well as the constant break in programming, plus the lack of programming. They are not regulated at all. Look here, I've been trying to get the original copy of my contract so I could verify the things that these people keep telling me, but they refuse to give it to me. And we also, another text, Miss G, is Miss Seymour so angry at Minister she refuses to remove her signs by Seabreeze Canal Light. We would also like the Honorable MP, Mrs. Bryce, to remove her 10-foot signs that blocking vision on the road. Let's get into 2021 now, please. Good morning. The restroom is accessible at Road Traffic Carmichael. Tell that texter to stop with the lies, please. Miss Greene, I'm researching, but I think we might be the only inglorious country that have dying patients and getting wet from... No, that ain't true. I could tell you all the story about St. Lucia in a hot minute. Hi, Erin. You're not easy, but you're right with the former Minister of Education. Boy, I ain't even talked about him this morning. Good morning, Mr. Lloyd. I wasn't talking about you. I gotta go. It's 11 a.m. Levon Miller and Unleashed is up next. I'm gonna get to the rest of these texts tomorrow. You guys have a great day. Stay tuned to Guardian 96.9 FM.
Everybody say, try Jesus. Oh, don't try me. Because I find